do it.
Come on, Dad, get me.
Ooh, nice play. All right, go. There you go.
请记得订阅，开启小铃铛。高飞猫的成长需要您的帮忙。
At Ally, we're helping millions save more for the things that matter most to them. Whatever you're saving for, we're all better off with an Ally.
Get back to work. Everyone says just follow your dreams, as if it were that easy. But this dream can't be followed. You need to chase it down, grip it tight. It will test you, put obstacles in your way, doubt into your head. And this dream will only slip away if we let it. The future of American golf is now. Join us.
There's more to any business than the game it's in. Want to meet customers where they are.
Digital experience game.
Make buying friction-free.
E-commerce strategy game.
Build competitive advantage.
Rewrite the playbook game.
That's where Deloitte comes in. We can help businesses of every kind advance and connect all that it takes to perform.
Whatever game you're in.
Deloitte, proud sponsor of progress.
Bryson DeChambeau, a 3-shot lead over McIlroy, Cantlay, and Pavone as we inch closer to the tee times of the leaders. 9 players under par here going into the final round. And if you're wondering how that might turn out by the end of the day, well, over the 3 previous U.S. Opens that have been played at Pinehurst #2, collectively, only 4 players have ever finished under par here at Pinehurst for a U.S. Open.
I think probably 4 would be a good number to finish under par today. That's amazing.
Colin Morikawa even par. He'll be in our afternoon featured group coming up shortly.
Yes, it's all right, so let's just take a second.
Jordan Spieth finding out where his ball landed. And the predictable reaction.
The mystery. It looked like that Wiregrass's land on top of it.
No 7. I mean, we got to land at 202. That is 13 yards short. Okay? So we need a 92 shot, which is like just under driving range with this. Okay. I don't think we can hit this at 202. Okay, trust it, please.
Manny Vajegas, that's Camilo's brother, a good player in his own right, given the instructions to Siwoo. 6-iron with a little helpful breeze from right at 220 here, but you don't want to go anywhere near that flag. You're really trying to carry this about 200